Bend down. Scoop up a handful of soil. Does it crumble, alive with worms and the faint musk of life? Or does it blow away as dust, dry, tired, forgotten? That one gesture tells the story of humanity's survival. Ancient India knew this. Surapala, in his Vriksha Ayurveda, wrote 1,000 years ago, "The strength of a tree depends on the life of its roots, and the life of its roots depends on the humus of the soil." Today, soil scientists echo the same. Soil organic matter is the currency of fertility. But in 50 years of chemical farming, we've spent that wealth recklessly. Now, the earth sends us reminders, floods, droughts, and empty fields. But there's hope. Because ancient wisdom never really dies, it just waits to be remembered. Seed priming, composting, lunar planting, herbal pest control. Modern science calls it biopriming, organic pest management, biodynamic agriculture. Different words, same wisdom. Surapala suggested soaking seeds in honey, ghee, and herbal extracts to wake them before planting. Today, studies show primed seeds germinate faster, resist disease, and grow stronger. He warned that overfeeding the plant weakens the soil, something soil scientists now measure as declining carbon levels and microbial death. Ancient knowledge was not superstition, it was deep observation. They saw soil not as dirt, but as a living being. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations warns we may have only 60 harvests left before our soils collapse. We've poisoned our water, killed pollinators, and broken the soil's living web. Industrial farming sees the land as a machine. Feed it chemicals, get yield. But you can't bully life into abundance. You can only nurture it. And around the world, farmers are proving just that. Sikkim, the small Himalayan state that dared to dream big. In 2016, it became India's first 100% organic state.
प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने सिक्किम को पूर्ण ऑर्गेनिक राज्य का दर्जा दिया है।
प्रकृति के साथ प्रेम का नाता चाहिए, प्रकृति के साथ जीने का सीखना पड़ेगा। सिक्किम ने वो उदाहरण करके दिखाया है।
In the Indian foothills of the Himalayas, in the corner bordering China, Nepal, and Bhutan, a green revolution is underway.
India's first 100% organic state, Sikkim, has won the Oscar for Best Policies, conferred by the Food and Agriculture Organization.
हम जिस प्रकार से केमिकल का उपयोग कर रहे हैं, केमिकल फर्टिलाइजर का उपयोग कर रहे हैं, पेस्टिसाइड्स का उपयोग कर रहे हैं, हम हमारी इस धरती माँ को तबाह कर रहे हैं।
Pesticides is one of the more controversial topics in all of this. Use of these chemicals not just impact our food chains, but also our health and the environment.
We annually shower over 5 billion pounds of pesticides across the earth, have the potential to pollute soil and water, impact wildlife, and even harm us.
Pesticides are often criticized for their harmful effects. They impact on biodiversity by killing insect pollinators, damaging soil quality, and polluting groundwater.
No synthetic fertilizers, no chemical pesticides. Skeptics predicted disaster. They said yields would drop, farmers would quit, and hunger would rise. But Sikkim proved them wrong.
On 24th February 2003, Chief Minister Pawan Chamling made a historic declaration in the State Legislative Assembly. The Chief Minister announced for adopting organic farming and transforming Sikkim into a fully organic state.
आमदानी बढ्छ, पर्चेसिङ पावर बढ्छ, अनि हाम्रो जति उत्पादहरू छ सिक्किमको त्यो चाहिँ यस दुनियामा यसको डिमान्ड हुन्छ.
Accordingly, a resolution was passed in the State Assembly. Thus, Sikkim became the first Indian state to officially start organic movement in the country.
हम सब हिंदुस्तानी के लिए गर्व और फख्र की बात है कि सिर्फ भारत का छोटा प्रदेश सिक्किम पूर्ण जैविक राज्य बन चुका है.
Over 75,000 hectares of farmland went organic. More than 66,000 families joined the movement. Farmers began composting again, using cow-based tonics like Jeevamrutham and herbal sprays. Within a few years, the soil revived. Pollinators returned, water ran clear. Rice regained its fragrance. Frogs croaked again at night. And the economy? It flourished. Organic produce earned premium prices. Tourism surged. People came to see living soil. In just a few years, Sikkim's organic mission boosted incomes, preserved biodiversity, and reconnected people to the land. In Nepal's high hills, farmers never stopped listening to the moon. They plant seeds during waxing phases for leafy crops, waning for roots, just as Vriksha Ayurveda prescribed. Here, soil is treated as sacred. Compost is prepared with herbs and minerals. Water is stirred in rhythmic circles before use, a practice now recognized as biodynamics. The result? Healthy soils, nutrient-rich crops, communities that thrive in balance with nature. It's not just agriculture, it's the culture of living with the earth. Ethiopia's story is one of rebirth. Decades of overgrazing and deforestation had left the land barren. But instead of depending on foreign aid, farmers led the revival.
The strategy of using sustainable land management to eradicate poverty has been very effective.
They returned to terracing, composting, and planting native trees, ancient techniques once dismissed as primitive. Within 10 years, groundwater rose. Streams flowed again, crops doubled. Life returned. Researchers called it farmer-led regeneration. But what it really was wisdom returning home. In France's Burgundy and Alsace, world-class vineyards now follow the moon too. They spray herbal teas on grapevines, plant by cosmic rhythms, and compost with care. It's called biodynamic agriculture, a modern echo of Vriksha Ayurveda. When skeptics mocked them, blind tastings shut the critics up. Biodynamic wines outperform the rest. Healthier soils, deeper flavor, higher value. What we call ancient ritual, science now calls soil microbiome management. Across the world, in California and North Dakota, regenerative farmers are proving the same truth. Gabe Brown turned dying land into a living farm by restoring soil organic matter, from 1% to over 6% in a decade. His method? No chemicals. Just cover crops, compost, and grazing animals. His land now holds more water, needs no irrigation, and thrives through drought.
The ecosystems function pretty much the same everywhere. And people always think, well, it's not going to work here. Well, no, all soil is made of sand, silt, and clay. Everywhere you go, plants take sunlight, photosynthesis occurs. That drives the water cycle, the energy cycle, and the biodiversity drives it also. You have to focus on those 4 ecosystem processes. So our firm, Understanding Ag, is about education. How do we educate farmers and ranchers as to how the 6 soil health principles and the 3 rules of adaptive stewardship drive those 4 ecosystem processes? What we like to tell people is the definition of regenerative agriculture is farming and ranching in synchrony with nature to repair, revitalize, rebuild, and restore ecosystem function, beginning with all life in the soil, moving to all life above the soil. And this is the same anywhere in the world we travel. Now, the crop species used, the livestock species used, the equipment used, that may all be a little bit different, but the principles, rules, and processes are the same. It's much better economically to farm and ranch regeneratively. And I tell people, I use as an example nitrogen. Above every surface acre of Earth in the atmosphere, there's approximately 32,000 tons of atmospheric nitrogen. Why would any farmer or rancher want to go write a check for nitrogen fertilizer when there's that much in the atmosphere? We just have to be smart enough to understand how do we get it from the atmosphere into the soil. And the answer is through living plants and biology. Well, what's it going to cost me? Well, the fact of the matter is it isn't going to cost you anything because all of those elements are free. All we got to do is grow living plants and understand what those plants do, how ecosystem functions. What surprises people is they can actually write fewer checks. It's not going to cost them more money, it's going to make them more money, while at the same time doing what's right for the environment, because you're going to regenerate our precious resources, and it's good for the family. Your workload actually decreases. There's less stress because finances are much better. It's a win-win situation. I often get asked, yes, but we have to feed the world. How are we going to feed the world if we use regenerative practices? And I answer it this way. Look, my neighbor grows wheat. I grow wheat. But not only do I grow wheat on that acre in a year, I will grow a cover crop, I will graze cattle, I'll graze sheep, I'll graze pigs, I'll have laying hens on there, broiler chickens will produce honey. Who's going to feed the world first? I produce much more food per acre than the conventional model does.
His philosophy echoes Surapala's. The soil is alive. Feed it, and it feeds you. In India, Dr. Vandana Shiva revived the forgotten language of the soil. Her Navdanya movement restored biodiversity, native seeds, and farmer sovereignty. In the 1990s, chemical farming was erasing India's traditional varieties. Shiva and her team collected thousands of native seeds and returned them to farmers. They taught organic composting, intercropping, and herbal tonics like Jivamrutham. Soon, the land came back to life, and so did the people. "We didn't just get our seeds back," said one farmer. "We got our lives back."
I started Navdanya 87 when I realized and heard the companies talk about genetic engineering seed, patenting seed, and having global control through the World Trade Organization Intellectual Property Rights Agreement. But what we found a few years ago, and I experienced this in India in 2004, with a seed law that would make local seed illegal, that would make millets illegal, that would make farmers' varieties illegal. 3 years ago, this started to be introduced all over the world. We stopped it in India through a beet satyagraha. And I took 100,000 signatures to the Prime Minister to say we live in the land of Gandhi. He did a salt satyagraha, we are doing a beet satyagraha. So you can pass any law you want. We're going to save our seeds because that's a higher duty. In the last year, the seed freedom movement has stopped the criminalization of biodiversity and farmers' varieties across Europe, across large parts of Latin America, Canada. Now in the United States, heritage seeds are being made illegal. In Africa, we are helping movements. And the Seed Freedom Declaration is a declaration just that brings people together. Because there are two ways of organizing society. One is top-down through control, which is what the industry is seeking. And the other is, like the seeds grow. You grow a seed, it multiplies on its own, it reproduces, and it is shared. So the Seed Freedom Declaration is a seed of a movement, just on the fundamental principles of our relationship with the seed and the earth, our duties and our rights that go with it. And people can visit the seedfreedom.in website to become part of the movement.
This is Vriksha Ayurveda in action. Soil, seed, and soul working as one. Modern agriculture forgot what ancient India always knew. That soil is a living being. Each teaspoon of fertile soil holds more organisms than there are humans on Earth. Together, they form a web that sustains all life. When we poison them, we poison ourselves. When we feed them, they feed the planet. And everywhere we look, the proof is there. From the Himalayas to California, from Burgundy to Ethiopia. Ancient practices are restoring the earth, one handful of soil at a time. This isn't nostalgia, it's necessity. When we say Vriksha Ayurveda, we don't just mean plant science, we mean a way of life, where soil, water, animals, humans, and spirit are one. The truth that we are one must be acknowledged, not just believed. Because when we heal the soil, we heal ourselves. When we feed the earth feeds us. The blueprint to survive has always been here, written in the language of roots, rivers, and rain. If more of us choose this path, the planet will not just survive, it will thrive. What we've explored is more than ancient knowledge. It's a living science rediscovered by those who listen to the earth. If you'd like to go deeper, our blog holds more. Find the link in the description box below. There, you'll find the full article, books worth reading, and links to modern research that bring Vriksha Ayurveda to life again. Because wisdom, like a seed, grows when shared.